We've been looking at systems of linear equations and finding solutions to these systems. Here we have now a system of linear inequalities, and we're going to look at this a little bit. Here we have an example of a system of a linear equalities. There's two inequalities here. We have 3x is greater than or equal to y, and x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. So these are two inequalities, and there's a system, and there's a solution to this system. However, the solution to a system of inequalities is now a space, an area. And so we're going to look at the solution on a graph. Hence, we're asked to graph the system that we're given here. So to begin with, we're going to graph each inequality. The first inequality is 3x is greater than or equal to y. In order to graph that, you may recall we have to graph the line and then figure out which side of the line makes this inequality true. So we have the line 3x is equal to y. So we'll graph that line 3x is equal to y like this. So this is the line y equals 3x. Notice we have the point 0, 0. And if you throw in 1 for x, you get 3 for y. So the point 1, 3. And also the point negative 1, negative 3. Those all are on that line, y equals 3x. However, our inequality is 3x is greater than or equal to y. And so we want to know, well, where does that happen? So we have to test points on either side. For example, if I test this point 1, 1, and I throw it in here, we get 3 times 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Is that greater or equal to 1? And yes, that does satisfy the inequality. 3 is bigger than 1. So we see that we shade this side of that line. And we keep the lines solid because it's a greater than or equal to inequality. So let's shade this side. And remember, the shading we have here, which is on the right side of that line, represents the inequality 3x is greater than or equal to y. Or we can rewrite in terms of y. Y is less than or equal to 3x. So that's the right side of that line. So now we want to graph the second inequality, which is x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. And so we have to solve this, treat this as an equation, solve it for y, or plot some points to graph that line. So on close inspection, we can see I can put some points in here and have a line that looks like this one here. And we have our line here, x plus 2y equals 8 in the brown. And I'd pick 2 points. For example, if x was 4, then y would be 2, because 4 plus 2 times 2 is 8. And if x was 2, then y would be 3, because 2 plus 2 times 3, 2 plus 6 is 8. So we had 2 points to draw this line. But the thing is, now we have to figure out which side of the line do I shade on this brown line. And we remember the inequality is x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. So let's pick a point. I'll pick a simple point again. Why not pick the point 1, 1? It's on the lower side of that brown line. And so the point 1, 1. If I plug it in here, 1 plus 2 times 1, 1 plus 2, that's 3. That's less than 8. So we can see that the lower side of the line is what we want. So we shade the lower side of this brown line like this. And so we have this line, this area shaded below the line, x plus 2y equals 8. And this brown area that's shaded represents this inequality, x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. So look, it gets a bit messy here. We have all this shading. But now we have to look at what is the actual solution to our system of inequalities. And the solution is the intersection of the two areas. The shaded area down here, where you both see what blue and brown, is my solution area. And so if I were to clean it up and just shade the area we want, it would look like this. Remember, it's going to be bounded by this black line and this brown line, all this piece in here. So let's clean this up and just shade the piece that we're looking at. So once we clean up the graph and we see the area where both are shaded, we're shading under the line x plus 2y equals 8, and to the right of the line y equals 3x, is this area here that has both the brown and blue. And so this area represents the solution area to the inequality system 3x is greater than or equal to y, and x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8, this area right here. Now sometimes it's useful to know this point here, where the endpoint, a boundary point for this area. And how we would find this is we would actually have to make this a system of equations like this here. 3x equals y and x plus 2y equals 8. And then we would solve this system. And we could solve this using either elimination or substitution. And if you solve this system, you find the solution to this system is 8 sevenths, 24 sevenths. So that would be the solution point, the point of intersection of these two lines, which is right up here. So we could label this point here 8 sevenths, 1 and 1 seventh, and 24 sevenths, which is 3 and 3 sevenths. That's the point where the two lines intersect. You can also solve this system of inequalities using the graphing calculator. Remember, we had the system 3x is greater than or equal to y, and x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. We're actually going to graph the solution on the calculator. First of all, we have to make each an equation and then solve for y. The first equation becomes, if I turn it on, y equals 3x. So I put 3x, that's my first line. The second line, x plus 2y equals to 8. We have to solve that for y to input it into the calculator. Solving it for y, we get y equals, parentheses, 8 minus x divided by 2. If we simply hit graph here, we see the two lines, we see their intersection, and we found the intersection earlier. However, we want to see the graph of the inequality. In order to do that, we have to do some shading. Let's go back to the y equals editor. We want to shade to the right of the line 3x. In fact, that is actually below the line 3x. So we scroll to the left of my y equals, and we hit enter until we see a lower triangle. Now we have the lower triangle. If I were to hit graph, you can see that everything below or to the right of that line was shaded. Similarly, going back to y equals, for the line 8 minus x over 2, we actually want to shade below that line as well. So scroll back to the left of y2, hit enter until we get a lower triangle, which means below. The upper triangle means above, but the lower triangle means below. And there we have the lower triangle. If we hit graph again, we see to the right of the line 3x and below the line x plus 2y equals 8 or y equals 8 minus x over 2 is shaded. So here is my solution where they both intersect. Notice that it's shaded, that the cross-hatched area where the both shadings occur is the area where the solution is, and the intersection right here is the corner, that corner point that we found earlier.